Welcome, and thank you for joining the Retrieving the Final Validation Report in CASPER training module. The goal of this training is to educate you on how to retrieve the system-generated Final Validation Report. This report contains feedback about the hospice item set, or HIS records, submitted to the KEYS ASAP system. If you have not yet viewed Hospice Training Modules 1 through 4, you should do so before viewing this training session. As discussed in Training Module 4, when the processing of the HIS file is complete, you must access the CASPER reporting system to obtain the system-generated Hospice Final Validation Report. The link to access the CASPER reporting system is available on the CMS Hospice Welcome page, and that is where this demonstration will begin. You must enter your CMSNet user ID and password to access the CMS network. Once in the CMS network, you may access a link to the CMS Hospice Welcome page. To access the CASPER reporting system, select the CASPER reporting link on the CMS Hospice Welcome page, and the KEYS National System Login page is presented. Enter your KEYS user ID. This is the same user ID that was used to log into the hospice submissions system to submit the HIS record file. Enter the password associated with your KEYS user ID. Select the Login button, and a U.S. Government Authorized Use Only pop-up window is presented. Review the contents of the window. Select the OK button, and the CASPER Topics homepage is presented. This is the CASPER Reporting System homepage. The main body of the CASPER Topics page is the homepage frame. The homepage includes a Welcome to CASPER greeting and links to the functionality available in the CASPER reporting application. Please refer to the CASPER Reporting User's Guide for detailed information about all of the functionality available in this system. To retrieve the system-generated Final Validation Report, select the Folders button from the menu bar. The system-generated Final Validation Reports are placed into a folder named State Code, Hospice, Facility ID, VR, where State Code is your hospice provider's 2-character state code, Hospice is the provider type, Facility ID is the CMS-assigned facility ID used for submitting hospice records, and VR is Validation Report. The VR folder may be viewed by you and others with KEYS user IDs for your provider who can submit files to the KEYS ASAP system. For this demonstration, the folder associated with this Hospice KEYS user ID is as follows. The 2-character state code is MS, followed by the provider type Hospice. The next value displayed is the provider's facility ID, which here is the CMS-assigned facility ID of 280473. This is the ID that identifies the HIS records that belong to your provider. The last values are the letters VR, which stands for Validation Report. Hospice users only see a folder for their provider. They cannot see or access folders for other providers. To view the reports that were placed in the Validation Report folder, select the VR folder. Within the VR folder, you will see the system-generated Final Validation Reports. The report names are formatted as follows. submission date and time, followed by the submission ID. For example, here's the name of the system-generated final validation report for a file submitted on July 19, 2014 at 9:04 a.m. and 54 seconds with a submission ID of 636. To view the system-generated final validation report, select the report file name that contains the submission ID from the initial confirmation message that displayed when you submitted your submission file to the Keys ASAP system. Remember that the submission ID is the value that displays after the period in the report file name. Here is the system-generated hospice final validation report for submission ID 1018. The report indicates whether the records submitted were accepted or rejected and details the warning and fatal errors encountered. It provides detailed information for each record for which the Keys ASAP system was able to process from the submission file. Here's a brief recap of information about the hospice final validation report. The report is automatically generated by the Keys ASAP system. It is located in the Validation Report, or VR folder, in the CASPER reporting system. The VR folder is a shared folder, therefore it may be viewed by anyone with a Keys user ID who can submit records to the Keys ASAP system for your provider. The report provides detailed information about each record contained in the submission file. It only displays records where the facility ID could be verified by the Keys ASAP system. For each record processed, the report includes the status of the record processing, accepted or rejected, identification items to identify the record, error messages associated to the record if applicable. This report should be reviewed carefully to determine the status of the processing of each record included in the submission file. Records with fatal errors are not saved into the Keys ASAP system. If fatal errors are returned on the validation report, corrections should be made to the record and the record should be resubmitted to the Keys ASAP system. This report is automatically deleted from the VR folder after 60 days. CMS highly recommends that you print or save a copy of the report prior to the system deletion. The CASPER Reporting User's Manual provides detailed information to users about the CASPER reporting system's functionality and the system-generated hospice final validation report. You are strongly encouraged to access and review this user's guide. This guide is available on the CMS Hospice Welcome page as shown earlier. It will also be available on the Hospice User Guides and Training page on the CUTSA website. Should you require assistance with the CASPER reporting application or accessing the final validation reports available to you, contact the Keys Technical Support Office Help Desk by phone at 877-201-4721 or by email at help@keys.com.